Hello, everyone. My name is Dave Myers. I'm with Spotlight PA Berks Bureau. We run these community forums, and we really appreciate you joining us today. Um, this is we do this on a monthly basis. We're going to do several more coming up, but we really appreciate you. I think this is a very, very interesting topic that could be a significant game changer for the city of Reading, for Berks County, and for the entire Schuylkill River Trail. So thank you for joining us. I'm going to turn it over quickly to Jose Delgado Rivera, who will do a greeting on behalf of Spotlight PA.
Thank you, Dave. Good morning and welcome everyone to this community forum. I'm Jose Delgado, General Manager of Spotlight PA Berks. If this is your first time joining one of our community forums beginning in January, these events previously presented by the Berks Alliance and the Berks County Community Foundation as under the umbrella of Spotlight PA. We're an independent, nonpartisan, and nonprofit newsroom dedicated to high quality investigative and public service journalism about Pennsylvania state government and urgent statewide issues. Our bureau is focused on Berks County. We were founded last year. We're happy to welcome Dave to continue hosting the community forums under Spotlight PA. And I want to encourage all of you to sign up, subscribe to our free newsletter, Good Day Perks, to continue receiving information about future events, in addition to curated local stories, updates, and community highlights. If you wish to be subscribed to this newsletter, please drop your email on the chat and I'll take care of subscribing you after this event. Also, save the date. Spotlight PA is gonna be celebrating an Ideas Festival on October 3rd at the Google Works. This is a community center day-long event designed to bring together community leaders, innovators, and organizations from across the state, hosted here in Berks County. And the purpose of this event is to create a collaborative space where communities can share practical, proven solutions to local challenges, exchange ideas, and inspire new approaches rooted in creativity and civic engagement. Um, the format, we don't want it to be a boring conference, so it's emphasize accessibility, creativity, and interaction. If you have a topic that you would like us to include in this event or a speaker that you would like to see, you can go to spotlightpa.org/ideas festival. I will drop the link on the chat, and there you can submit your ideas. Um, Now, before passing it back to Dave, Spotlight PA provides community forums as a space for public discussion and engagement. The views, opinions, statements, and remarks expressed by speakers or participants are those of the individuals and do not necessarily reflect the views, editorial judgment, or position of Spotlight PA, its employees, board members, funders, or affiliates. So after that disclaimer, thank you all for joining, and let's go back to Dave.
Thank you, Jose, and welcome everybody to this community forum. I'm going to cover some quick ground rules for everybody. We'd like you to keep your camera on so we know we're dealing with really live people, but to mute your microphone so that we don't get any additional background noise that can disrupt the program. We ask you to use the chat function, which you'll find at the bottom of the screen, to submit your comments and questions. We will share those. I'll either call on you or we'll ask them ourselves. Jose or I will ask them after the formal presentation. We do record this. We send a recording. We'll send the slideshow and any other information that our presenters want us to share with people. Anthony has some things I think he wants to share. We'll share those with everybody who registers. We get people who register but don't necessarily show up at the event, but because we do the recording, they can watch the program when they want to. We also post it on the Spotlight PA Berks website, and we share it with BCTV, and we encourage people to share it with other people as well. With that, I'm going to introduce our presenters today. We have two. One is Elaine Schaefer, who's the Executive Director of the Schuylkill River Greenways Association, position she's had for almost 10 years. So leading some significant changes and developments at the Schuylkill River Greenway. And Anthony Orozco is a known name here in Reading and Berks County, who is the Director of Operations and Communications for Barrio Alegría, located here in Reading, which uses the arts as a way of community engagement and getting people involved more broadly in our community and been very successful with that. So with that, I'm going to first admit we're being a little dishonest and saying this is about the Gateway Bridge exclusively. It's not. Elaine's going to talk and Anthony's going to talk about some other things as well. But the Gateway Bridge is a significant project that the Schuylkill River Greenways is taking on and could be a real significant game changer for our region. So with that, Elaine, to you.
Thank you, Dave. Thank you, Jose. Hello, everyone. I am Elaine Schaefer, Executive Director of SRG. I'm so glad that you're all here, or if you're listening to this later, that you're tuning in to learn more about what we're doing. We have some really exciting stuff to share. But before I start sharing my screen, I want to introduce the Schuylkill River Greenways team that is with us today, because really they are the real experts that are doing all of this work. Kent Himmelwright, raise your hand, Kent. He is our Trails Director. Tim Fenchel is our Deputy Director and has been with SRG for 20 years plus. And let's see, Jacob Gardner is on with us as well. Jacob is our Trails Program Manager. And if you use the trail at all, you have seen Jacob out there on the trail, making it perfect for you. All right, with that, I am going to go ahead and share my screen. And we have a PowerPoint put together for you. And let me give you a little idea of what we're going to do today, a little roadmap. First, we are going to tell you a little bit about the background of our organization and what we do. Then we're going to go deep into the Reading Gateway project and give you some detail about what's going on, what to expect, and where we are in that project and what it is. Then we're going to talk briefly. Kent is going to tell you a little bit briefly about some other projects that we have in Reading and one other big project that we have going on at the same time. And then we'll come and end the presentation with a little discussion about why we are doing all of this and what the point is, and look at the future that we are looking at. So let's get started. So the Schuylkill River Greenways is a heritage area. We are both a national heritage area and a state heritage area. That means we are federally funded and state funded. A heritage area is, it's sort of like a national park. And we are actually funded through the National Park Service, but it's not just like a defined area that is, has a singular purpose and a singular story like Valley Forge Park. It is a landscape. It is a greater region that has a similar characteristic that is important to our nation's story. And there are 62 of them in the United States, telling all kinds of aspects of the national story. Our story is all about the Schuylkill River and its incredible impact on this region and in our country, starting from the American Revolution and bringing us all the way to today. And this shaded area in green is the heritage area. It is basically the watershed of the Schuylkill River. And it includes most of 5 counties: Philadelphia County, Montgomery County, Chester County, Berks County, and Schuylkill County. All right, we do a lot of things. Our mission is basically to connect people to the Schuylkill River and to the Schuylkill River Trail in order that they understand the impact and the importance of the river and that they adopt the river and become stewards of it. We do it in a whole host of ways. But really the most impactful and the thing we're most known for is the Schuylkill River Trail. And that is just a fabulous way to connect people to the river as it goes along the river for most of the trail. It will be 120 miles when it's finished. Right now, a little over 80 are finished. This slide is a little outdated. We actually own and maintain more than 36 miles at this point. We're almost to 40 miles at this point, and we are constantly building more. Schuylkill River Greenways is the entity that builds, owns, and maintains all the trail in Berks County and in Schuylkill County. The rest of the trail going towards the city is owned and maintained by governmental entities. The county in Montgomery County, Chester County, a little piece is maintained by Phoenixville when it goes through Phoenixville. And then the last little part is maintained by another nonprofit like us called Schuylkill Banks in the city of Philadelphia. We also connect people to the river through lots of really interesting programming. You may have heard of the Schuylkill River Sojourn, which is a 7-day kayaking trip from Schuylkill County down to Philadelphia. We've been doing it for 27, 28 years. It's this year, it'll start June 13th. Registration's open now if you're interested. It's usually about 250 people that participate in that every year. And we get a lot of press attention, and it really does elevate the river in the region. We do a ride every September with about 200 people participating in that. We do an art show to reach out to like a different audience and connect them with the river. And then we do ongoing all year long one-day events, pedal and paddles, to introduce people to the river. We also have an educational program where it's mostly children and young adults, although everything we do involves education. And we have actually on our website now, we have a updated pages on our website that do a really good job of laying out for people, anybody who gets on there, all the programming that's available, what it involves, and how to sign up for it. It's all free programming that we offer to the communities all around the heritage area. And then one of the most important things we do, but one of the most undersung things that we do, is a restoration fund that we've been doing. Actually, Tim, who you just met, our deputy director, has been running this for 20 years. It's massively successful and important. And it's an investment program investing in projects each year that improve water quality. We've invested more than $5 million at this point in hundreds of projects. And each year it's about $500 that we put in, and then it gets leveraged 1, 2, 3 times. And the projects are amazing. It has had a real impact on the quality of the water. And most of the money that we raise to do that every year is privately sourced. Now I'm going to move into, I just want to give you an idea. This list, we're obviously not going to go through all this. This list are all the projects that we were working on last year and continue to work on this year. Not only do the Schuylkill River Trail, we also do the water trail. And the goal is, we are the state designated managers of the water trail. And the goal is to have accessible, public, high quality access to the river for the public every 4 miles of the river. We are not there yet, but that is our goal, the state's goal. So we, in addition to working on the land trail, we are also very active in trying to perfect the water trail. So this is just an example of all the projects that we have going on right now in this area, the Berks and Schuylkill area. Some of these are water trail projects and some of them are land trail projects. And I want to remind you that we are a nonprofit organization with 10 employees. So we have our hands full. We have a really dedicated and passionate staff that works so hard, and we maximize our partnerships. So we do all of this work. Every single one of these projects, we have partners. We're working together to finish the land trail and perfect the water trail. All right, now let's move on to talking about the project at hand, and that is the Reading Gateway Bridge. Many of you are familiar with this bridge and where it is. It is, this is an overview, an aerial of it. It is an old railroad bridge that if you have experienced it, I think the next slide has some pictures. perfectly serviceable. You can get across the bridge on your bike, walking, pushing a stroller. It works, but it is very unpleasant. It you don't feel secure on it. People don't feel secure on it. And I've heard someone describe it, and I really love this description, as a big metal chute, a big metal cow chute. And that is how you feel when you cross this bridge. You cannot see the river. The sides are so high that you cannot see the river. In this existing conditions picture, I do want to point out on the right-hand side, most people experience this side when you're walking. There's a whole nother side of this bridge. There were two tracks on this bridge, and you can't really see it, but it has a lot of potential. That's a lot of space. And when we go eventually to design this, we will be incorporating that extra space. These are a few other pictures of the trails leading to some of the trails that spur off of the bridge. You can see the condition of them. They're really, they need attention. They need love. They need lighting. And that all of this will be part of the project, not just the surface of the bridge. It will be the environs of the bridge. It'll be the experience of the bridge. You can see here, this is not a welcoming area. This is not an area where somebody wants to come. This is a little pathway that leads to a parking area. And you can see why it attracts unwelcome activity. It's just, it needs to be improved. And this is the gateway into the city. This is people's introduction as they enter the city from the trail. This is what they see. So what are we thinking? Well, we are thinking big. We want this to be a transformation of this bridge into an extraordinary vision, an extraordinary experience that people will travel to come see. People will want to experience. When someone's deciding what section of the trail they're going to use, they're going to want to come to the Reading section because they're going to want to experience that cool bridge that they've heard about. Here are some examples from around the country and world. The upper left-hand side here is really a very famous, we are not suggesting hands come out of the river, but this gives you the idea of the magnitude and the creativity of incorporating art into a bridge. This left-hand picture is an aerial view of the Millennial Bridge in London, which again, people come from all over to experience that bridge. It's just pedestrian only, and it is packed the way it is in this picture always. Here are some other bridges with lighting fixtures and structures that are, steel structures that make the bridges interesting and attractive. Here are a couple of others. This one on the lower left hand is a pretty simple entranceway that makes it welcoming and exciting. A very cool, I don't even know what you call that, tubular enhancement of a bridge. This bridge, I don't know if it is the High Line in New York or if it's another bridge designed to look like the High Line in New York, but here is an example of a bridge that incorporates landscaping, makes it feel like a park. If any of you are familiar with the High Line in New York, that bridge, that structure, which is really an elongated, elevated bridge, has completely transformed that section of Manhattan and made it into the most expensive real estate in Manhattan at this point, all because of that High Line. And that High Line trail feature was built and created by a volunteer group. Of course, they got funding through grants, but it was really an impressive accomplishment. I wanted to show you this slide because this is a bridge in Royersford that was very similar to the bridge that we are at the Reading Gateway Bridge. It was a railroad bridge. It had the high metal girder things. And they got grant funding to transform this bridge, not to make it a destination, not to make it an art feature, but they did the sort of minimal work that you need to do to upgrade to make it an attractive feature. And I wanted to show you what they did, because this is sort of the base of what we will need to do. They have redecked the entire bridge. So this is all new decking that raised the whole bridge, the walking surface up, so that they kept the old sides, but they raised the surface up enough so that you can see the river and you can experience the river from the trail. And they put some attractive siding on it. And that project was funded through many, many grants, the largest of which was a DCNR grant. And that is that alone will probably be the most expensive change that we have to make in upgrading the bridge itself. This bridge, as you can see, does not have the 2 lanes that we are talking about. So when we are applying for funding, this will be a large part of the expense, just the base amount. Where are we in this project? We are in phase 1. Phase 1 is the public engagement and the preliminary design. And I use the design word carefully. When I say design, I'm talking about sketch. I'm talking about preliminary drawings on paper. This is not real engineering at this point. Phase 2 will be the real design, engineering, and the construction. So phase 1 is a very, very thorough public engagement process, and that's what we're in right now. We have funding from Berks County, their Imagine Berks program, in the amount of $50,000 for this phase, as well as from the William Penn Foundation. I believe we have about $30,000 from the William Penn Foundation. We have a lot of partners on this who are participating, following, giving input. This is not even all the partners. This is the initial list that we put together. We have as you can see, listed number 1 on there is Barrio Alegría. You are going to hear from Anthony in a few minutes. They are the primary partner here in public engagement and helping us learn from the community what the community wants. The community is going to be living with this, looking at it, enjoying it, incorporating it into their lives. So it's super important that it's the vision that they have. And Anthony and his group are helping us do that. I think the next slide is the schedule that we are on. We are right now in the first 2 phases here, doing the public workshops, the surveys, the outreach, the feedback, and we are getting ideas. This is the idea stage. This spring will be taking those ideas, working with an engineer, and putting them down on conceptual designs. Lots of different choices from those ideas that we're hearing from the community. What are the possible ways that could look like? Keeping cost in mind. We have to be realistic about what can be built and what can be paid for. When we're finished that process in the summer, we will be taking a few of those designs and presenting them back to the public for feedback, and see the kind of reaction we get from what the architects have helped us, the engineers have helped us put on paper. And then in the fall, we will be making a decision. We got to pick one. So we will pick one preliminary design and we will unveil it to the public, and then we will begin phase 2. Phase 2 is raising the big money for engineering and for construction. Now we have already started on the phase 2 part of that, on the fundraising. We have submitted and are submitting for congressionally directed spending and community project funding with our congresswoman and our senators to pay for what we envision the costs are going to be. Obviously, they're not final costs because we don't have the final design. And it's a little over $3 million that we're asking for. So those applications have gone in or are going in, and that's our first try for funding. We will be spending the next year looking for all sorts of sources of funding. I am going to now hand it over to Anthony. He's going to tell you a little bit about what this public engagement process has looked like. And when you're ready, Anthony, tell me to go forward with the slide, and then I will also stop sharing if you have some pictures that you want to share.
Sure. Yeah. Well, first, I want to say a huge thank you to Schuylkill River Greenways for having the vision and the bravery to reach out to who? A group that is known for its poetry, for its dance, for its theater, but all of those art activities and initiatives that we do is really a byproduct. And I have to thank Elaine for understanding that because it is a byproduct. It is not the goal to create poetry, to do dance, to do theater. For Barrio Alegría, our goal is to get people active in their community, to get them engaged, and to have a sense of ownership. They live here, they pay taxes here, they raise their children here, they create businesses here. They should feel like this is their home. Many times people feel like this is a bus stop. You know, there are many transplants from New York and New Jersey or from various islands, and they feel like, oh, I'll go back home after a couple of years. And then they end up having a full life here. And so it is our mission to make sure that they know that one, that their voice that they have matters, and two, that they have a place to be heard. And so this initiative that we are doing goes right to the core of what Barrio Alegría does in convening our community, having them dream, which for a lot of people is hard. It can be hard for a lot of people. I mean, I can imagine that there are plenty of folks on this call who have been in boardrooms or in organizational meetings, and you're doing saying like strategic planning. And the wildest dream that people can come up with is keeping the lights on in the next 5 years. And that's a trauma response that comes from reality, that comes from the hardships that we all face. Barrio Alegría, of course, understands those hardships. We know that people need to pay rent. We know that people's family members are sick. We know that maybe they've lost a job. We know that the economy is hard. And while being based in reality, we always look forward toward possibilities, towards what can be, what should be, what is waiting just around the corner if you are not afraid to try. And so in this project, there is a tension. There is a very palpable tension of reality and dreaming. And we are inviting people at this point in time to dream wildly, even with the caveat of we are not going to be able to do everything. You know, once you create something and you present it to the public, who knows how many people will love it? Who knows how many people will have qualms with it? But that doesn't mean that you shouldn't try. And that doesn't mean that you should ignore what the public want. So you can see here some flyers for our past 2 public meetings that we had. These were very well attended, and I can share some photos from those meetings now, if that sounds okay. Let me see if I am able to do this. This is like that awkward moment in every Zoom meeting where the guy's like staring into the camera. Okay, here we go. Bow. All right, so this was our first meeting held at the WCR. Our second meeting was also held there. And for us, it was really important to invite a diverse crowd. What does that mean? So diversity to Barrio does not only mean immutable differences. So age, sex, race, but also interests. What are the interests of our city? So we have runners here, we have cyclists here, we have community artists, we have community organizers, we have documentarians, we have environmentalists. We have a group of people who care about their city in different ways, which to me was extremely important for us to do. In this discussion, it was not maybe the sort of norm that you would see in a community discussion where people are, say, sitting at a panel, and then there's the professionals, and then on the other side of the room is the quote unquote public. We're all the public. We all live here. We got in a room and we did what is called a moving conversation to get, so this is a sociogram, and I will actually stop sharing this. So a sociogram for us is we will ask general questions and people will move to sides of the room to show their agreement or disagreement with the statement. I want lighting at the bridge might be a question. People will go to and from. Maybe we don't want any lighting because it could be an ecological danger. And then another is, oh yeah, but I want to feel safe there at 8 p.m. when I'm crossing the bridge. And then people may stand in the middle as well. And you ask them questions. And once they start to describe themselves, you see other people move around them in agreement or disagreement. And you can get some very rich details from a large group of people that is not confined in the box of a survey. And this type of surveying or public input that we're doing, I have here just two figures for you guys to look at. So in the first two meetings, we started with most general ideas, hearing what people wanted from the bridge. Again, not going towards necessarily the problems, although we do welcome it. We want to hear what people want to change, but not just, oh, I hate this. I would love to see. That's where we want to go, is I would love to see this. And in the second meeting, we narrowed in, we got narrower in those, in some of the biggest themes that we came across, which were the experience of crossing the bridge, of being in that area. So there was some discussion about what the feeling is, what the vibe is, how they use that space, what they could use the space for. So again, as Elaine said, there's a whole half of that bridge being unused. People were dreaming of like community gardens in there, or little benches and all sorts of stuff. The other theme that we heard as well was art and identity. So obviously people want something beautiful. And I mean, it has its charm as a rusting metal cattle chute, you know, as those things do. But people want to see more, maybe community muralists filling the space, or actual structural changes, as Elaine showed. Some of the bridges themselves are art pieces. And then also identity. So what is the identity of Reading? Maybe we heard one suggestion where they would love to see flags of common nations where people hail from who now live in the city, or maybe hearkening back to the railroad, or even to the indigenous people who were first in this place. Again, there is another one, which is the river and nature. Can you see the river? Do you want to see the river? I'm not going to spoil anything, but yes, people want to see the river. And also people are concerned about nature, about what this will mean. Like I said, some people want lights. Some people are imagining a really beautiful, colorful space that you could go and take a selfie, that you would plan to go to take a selfie. Oh, let's go tomorrow night. It will be beautiful. We can do our engagement, our proposal on this bridge or something. And then there's other people who are saying, well, what about the bats? What about the fish? What about the birds? You know, there's plenty of light around a city. Does this place need light? That's a tension point, and a good point. And then finally is a community space. So this is something that maybe we can get into more later, but something that I think Schuylkill River Greenways in Barrio we were kindred spirits before we even knew it about this being a communal space, a community space where we do not penalize people for enjoying nature, for going out and enjoying this thing that is waiting for them, and caring for that space, having ownership of that space, and feeling like, it's not just something that you see every once in a while when you're driving on the highway and you wonder, how do I get to that? But it's a place where you can take your kids. It's a place where you can take your grandparents, where you can go alone, maybe catch your breath and write some poetry. And so we are examining these domains and others. So there will be a survey, both digital and physical surveys, which will be going out soon. We have one more public meeting that we are planning, which is different from the others. Oh, there we go. We had photos in there already. I'm so sorry, Elaine. I forgot. You guys already are one step ahead. So in these public meetings, we put the call out to the public to come and show up. And that draws certain folks. This next meeting that we're going to do, you probably won't see any promo about it. And that is exactly the point. We want to go to the bridge when the weather gets its act together. We want to go to the bridge, me and my team here at Barrio Alegría, and we want to talk to the people who actually use the bridge. There are plenty of folks who want to give their opinions about all sorts of things, whether or not they actually interact with the space or the theme or the ordinance that is coming up. But for us, again, is reaching to the people that it affects, reaching the people who will actually have to live with this, and not just live with it, but hopefully enjoy it and have pride of it. So our next meeting may be as soon as Sunday, maybe 2 Tuesdays from now. But if you want to be a part of that, what I encourage you to do is to not look at our social media for any sort of flyers, but to go and use the bridge. It's your bridge. It's your community. It's your park, and you should go and enjoy it. And I don't know if I have much more else to say, Elaine.
No, that's great. Thank you. Thank you. That's amazing. All right. So on that very positive note and invitation, we're going to move away from this particular project briefly and talk a little bit about some of the other work that's going on in Reading in particular. As you can see from this map, we also are building this project down here. We're building trail through the RAC campus. That's the Front Street project. And we are actually half funded for construction. That's designed and ready for construction. We're almost ready with our funding to get that going. Up here, you may know there is a trail there, but it does not rise to the standards of the Schuylkill River Trail or the circuit trail system, so we have to update it and improve it. We have a feasibility study, and we need to get that engineered, for which we have many. So I'm going to ask Kent if he can unmute and just take us through a few of these details of where we are with these projects, and then we'll get back to the following slides. Kent, are you?
Yep. Yeah.
Okay, there you go.
So, yeah. So when we talk about the Reading riverfront, it's hard to believe it, but when you look back at historical photos, this is how sprawling and the industrial complexes were on the Reading riverfront. You had railroad yards, you had factories, you had canals, businesses, and what it's kind of transformed into today is remarkably different than what it was. It's kind of transformed into this really nice green space. But you can kind of see the evidence left behind. You have Canal Street, used to have a Water Street, and you have about every 500 feet, you have a different street name. And it can be kind of confusing, and probably not confusing for the people who work and live in Reading, but if you live outside of Reading and you kind of drive around, the street names change very rapidly. So when we do talk about this, it can get a little bit confusing. But that's just a result of all the industrial impacts that took place on the River Reading front. So when I say Front Street, we're on the RAC campus. That's where we're at. Everybody's come across the Penn Ave there and seen the RAC campus. So when we talk about the Front Street project, it's on the RAC campus. When we talk about the Riverview project, we are on the other side of Buttonwood Street, in that green space, right next to the old, Dana site, and connected to Bear Park. When I talk about Riverfront Drive, that's an easy one. We're near or at Riverfront Park. So Front Street, a lot of people don't know the background on this project, but if you look at any trail mapping application right now, if you go on the Google Maps right now, the trail will show you kind of paralleling the river behind Rack's Yoakum Library, basically that blue line you see on the left-hand side of the screen. But yeah, if you go on All Trails or Strava, it's going to take you behind the library there and sort of through Yoakum Library's parking lot. And then it kind of dumps you into this footpath. I'll call it a footpath. It's a trail that just kind of has sprung up organically over the years. That is actually it's owned by Norfolk Southern. There's no management or easement or control by the city of Reading or by Schuylkill River Greenways or RAC. If you use that trail, you are unintentionally trespassing. So over the years, as we've kind of been made aware of this and how to address this, the city of Reading took it upon itself to realign and reconstruct River Road. River Road's just on the other side of the RAC campus. And they reconstructed, added a really nice pedestrian and bike lane along River Road. That was completed, I think, in 2023. It's nice and wide. Kind of the width varies from about 12 feet to 16 feet in some areas. So lots of separation, a lot of room for people to run, jog and bike. And over the years, we're seeing it being used a lot more. And that goes the whole way up to Buttonwood Street. So it's always been our goal okay, how can we connect to that bike lane, to that separated bike lane on River Road. This plan here, we'll call it the South Front Street Connector Project. So this would connect to the existing Toon Trail, which kind of dead ends in Riverfront Park there on Riverfront Drive, kind of deads in there, and then you kind of merge into RAC's campus there to connect to the Toon Trail section there and bring you down South Front Street on the RAC campus. We are going to do this by constructing a two-way cycle track on South Front Street. We are proposing to eliminate parking on South Front Street and construct about a 5-foot landscaped curb section to completely separate pedestrian and bicycle traffic from the regular vehicle traffic on South Front Street. this very idea, this very concept, was incorporated in RAC's master plan. Their most recent one, I think it's 2020, is their most recent master plan. So you can actually open that up and look at it, and you probably will see this image right here in their master plan. So over the years, we've worked very closely with RAC to design this. Where we're at, the status of this, as Elaine mentioned, is we're in final engineering. We're in the permitting phase of this project. We're working through the required, city planning and city permits that this project involves, the environmental permits that are needed, erosion sediment control. That's where we're at right now. We have a final design for this we've been able to sit down with the RAC campus and share it with them and get their approval on it. We've been able to, share plans with the city and get guidance on what our next steps are just to get this thing shovel ready. And again, Elaine mentioned we're halfway funded. Construction's halfway funded. We were able to partner with the city of Reading, and they actually the city was actually the applicant for this project. A DCNR C2P2 grant, and that grant was awarded this past winter. So we've $350,000 in the war chest already. We estimate this project as being about 750,000. It could probably be a little bit more when it's all said and done. But we know which grants now we want to target for this that are a really good fit to get the rest of that construction funding to have this thing shovel ready. We really kind of confident we could be shovel ready this fall, this winter of 2026, and shovels in the ground in early 2027. So that was the Front Street project there. The other project that so Front Street, right? Front Street. So we're like as far as status, we're like at the end of the third quarter going into the fourth quarter. Like the game's almost over, and it's going to happen very rapidly from this point on. Riverview here, as again, I'm going to try to orient this. This is on the north side of Buttonwood Street Bridge. It's about a 1 mile section in between Buttonwood Street and going up to Bear Park, paralleling that old Dana site there. There's an existing trail here on the Riverview section. It's this really significant green space in the city of Reading. Like a lot of people, like when we go to site visits, they're like, yeah, this is like, you don't feel like you're in the city anymore. This green space just kind of comes out of nowhere at you. There's a trail already built in there. As you can see in these photos, it's serviceable, kind of like the Reading Gateway Bridge. You can walk on it, you can bike on it, but it's very narrow. It's very windy. And that doesn't make it necessarily safe for if you have a lot of people walking on the trail and biking on the trail. You cannot see what's coming around that corner. And we want to kind of adjust the alignment of this to make it just safer to use. We want to open up the vegetation, basically manage the invasives that are growing along this trail, open it up, manage it to be a natural area. So your sight lines are much better. And it's just a little bit more welcoming space where you feel a little bit more secure and not closed in by the dense vegetation and not being able to see what's coming ahead of you or what's behind you or what's on the side of you. It just makes it overall safer. So in the bottom there's kind of a profile, and we were able to work with Simone and Collins on developing a great master plan for this project that we can now share with the public and share the vision here. So, and then we're kind of in the funding phase of this project, where we're looking for engineering funding to get it rolling and construction money to get it rolling. We've been able to partner with the city on submitting engineering grants. We've partnered with the Greater Berks Development Fund to submit a LSA grant for this. So, you know, you can't do it alone. You got to bring a good coalition of partners that have a shared vision and can tackle these large projects. So yeah, timeline 2027, 2028. This is not in Reading, but we're just excited about it, so we have to share it with you. But this has gone, I don't know, with 10, this is a decade's worth of work here. And this is up in northern Schuylkill County. We call it the Mill Creek section. It's about in full length, it's about a 7-mile section of new trail. What we're going to be constructing, what we feel very good about and very confident about, that we're going to go to construction here in late summer, early fall on this. We'll be constructing about 4 miles of this trail in between St. Clair Borough and Frackville Borough. Every section of the Schuylkill River Trail has its unique features, and this one is just as unique. We, you know, about 2 years ago, PennDOT, we were able to work with PennDOT to refurbish a historical bowstring bridge and kind of really make it, as we're talking about gateways, this beautiful bowstring bridge, which is in your right-hand side of your screen here, it was built in 1880s, I think it was, and they were able to tear it down, refurbish it. It was refurbished in Ohio, ship it back here, reassemble it, and now it's the gateway to this, what's going to be a beautiful Mill Creek section that is basically, to describe it, it's a mountain pass. You know, like I said, there's everything has its unique taste in on that SRT, and the Mill Creek section is this gradual climb up over. There's 2 mountains on either side, and you kind of go through this beautiful pass that gets you up over the ridge and into Frackville. And there's no way for pedestrians to get from Frackville to St. Clair Borough. It's highway. It's Route 61 highway, and this will be the primary pedestrian route to get from Frackville to St. Clair Borough. So we're really excited that this one's getting started.
Thank you, Kent. I know this Mill Creek section isn't in the Reading area, but we had to throw it in because it's such a huge project. And you know, we're there. We've gotten $3 million to get this done, and it's good. You all are gonna love it. It's a field trip for sure, but you'll love it. I just want to take a couple of minutes and talk to you a little bit about why we are doing. I'm going to bring you back to Reading, and why we are focusing so heavily on Reading right now. We are trying hard to get the trail finished through Reading and inviting in Reading for a reason right now. And that is many of you may know, if you use the trail, that there is a gaping gap in the trail entering Pottstown. It's the 422 connector, and all of the trail traffic that comes from Philadelphia, Montgomery County, Chester County, that comes up this way turns around at this gap. I put up on the slide some trail counts from last year on a trail season, and it doubles. It drops down by half on the other side of this gap. So there are going to be, between that gap being filled, which is going to go to construction this summer, it is actually under construction right now, and at some point this summer that will be open, and the floodgates of users will be coming to Reading. Between that and a new destination and welcoming bridge, thousands and thousands of people will be coming to Reading on this trail. And we want Reading to be ready. We want Reading to be ready, having the trail built, but also as a city to be ready for the economic impact that brings. So we are developing and have developed. We have a program called the Trail Friendly Business Program, and trail businesses that are along the trail, or you can get easily to the trail, join the program. It's free to them, but they have to agree to be friendly and welcoming to trail users, give them a bathroom if they have one, give them water if they have it, put a bike rack in front if they can. There are a list of things we ask them to do. Then they get listed as a trail-friendly business. We are developing this series. You can see up in the left-hand corner. It's a pocket map, and we have 5 different sections of it. The first one to be completed is between Pottstown and Reading. And it is a pocket map that new users who don't know this section of trail can, how to use it, where to park, where the bathrooms are, what incredibly cool sites and cultural features and historical features are right there on the trail that you can see, and what trail-friendly businesses are along the trail that you are riding. And it lists those businesses, how to get there, where you can get your beer there, your ice cream, your hot dog, whatever you want, so that when these people come to Reading, they will have a guide of what's available to them in Reading. Because if you're a trail user in a city you're not familiar with, you're probably not going to leave the trail if you don't really know where you're going. So this is a way of connecting those new users and people that are going to be coming from all over and bringing them in to the part of the city that they can get to, and having them try out the cool ice cream store or hot dog guy. And we'll have this ready to roll out by the time that section of trail gets opened. But this is an example of what, our role in this is not just building the trail. It is getting the people to learn the cities that they're going to in these trails, to want to come and to discover these cities. And that's what brings the economic impact. And on these maps, we are listing all bikeable lodging locations, whether they're trail businesses or not, to encourage overnight stays so that people can do a 2-day trip. And our outfitter will be supporting that with shuttling service. One last thing I wanted to bring up before we take questions, and that is the future of the trail. We, as I mentioned earlier, we take care of and own almost 40 miles. Every day we're adding. So that is an enormous burden. The maintenance of that trail is an enormous burden, and we're only building more. So we have to plan for the future. How are we going to be able to pay for this maintenance? And it is not just, mowing the lawn and keeping the weeds out. It is, we own 5 river bridges, repairing bridges, taking care of sinkholes, removing trees when there's a tree blight. These things are hundreds of thousands of dollars, and grant money does not pay for maintenance. It only pays for building new trail. Nobody wants to pay for the maintenance. So we are in the middle of a capital campaign to raise a fund that will forever fund the maintenance of the trail. And we're trying to raise $5 million over 5 years, and we're in year 3. We have raised $2.7 million. We have a year and a half left to raise the $2.3 million left. And how it will work is, with that $5 million in the bank, the interest and earnings every year will pay for what we need for those extraordinary expenses. And it will be taken care of forever. It's been, we're working hard to raise this money. It's a solution for whether, for the future, whether we are the owners or whoever is the owners. Eventually, a staff of 10 nonprofit employees is not going to be taking care of 80 miles of trail. Eventually, government is going to step in and either partner with us or take over this trail. Having a friends group that has a $5 million account to help with maintenance will make that more palatable to our government. So that is the campaign we are in now. I wanted to tell you about it and encourage anyone who's listening and who cares about this trail to participate in this campaign, because it is really the future of our campaign. I have a few pictures here of some of the maintenance projects that we're talking about. This was a huge log jam in the Douglasville bridge section. $180,000 it cost us to get rid of that log jam, which we had to use from money that would have gone towards building more trail. And that is a picture of Tim Fenchel with his feelings about maintenance costs. Right now we're working on fixing the Doverstein Bridge. Again, a river bridge we own it needs significant repair, hundreds of thousands of dollars. And that really does cripple the efforts of finishing the trail when we have to divert so much of our funding towards this. So I wanted you all to be aware of that campaign. It's extremely important. And anyone who's interested, please join us. You can get on our website and learn more about it. And I think that brings us to the end.
Sure.
We do have time for some questions, I think. I don't even know what time it is.
Yes, we do. We have about
Okay.
25 more minutes of time before we give everybody back the rest of their day. Thank you, Elaine and Anthony. Great presentation. I want to mention something that I just learned about last night, and that there is a very strong connection to the history of Reading and the Schuylkill River Greenways. And that is, if I remember right from the conversation last night, David Toon, whose family are legacy people here in Reading area, was one of the founding fathers of Schuylkill River Greenways. Is that correct?
Yes, he certainly was. And in fact, we turned 50 last year. And our organization turned 50, and David was still alive, and he was honored during that 50th anniversary for being, kind of the OG, the founder, and his family of the trail. So we feel so blessed that we were able to really honor him and honor his contribution while he was alive.
That family has such a great connection to the history of this region that's important. And I think good for people to understand and know that there's a strong connection with the city of Reading, the Reading area, with the Schuylkill River Trail and the Greenways.
And I'm sure people know that that section of trail heading into Reading is called the Toon Trail.
Yes. Yes.
Wasn't a coincidence.
I have a bunch of questions, so I'll try to not dominate this too much. But how long is the Gateway Bridge? How long does it span? Do you have any idea?
Kent would probably be the best one to answer that.
Yeah, it's 625 feet long. Yeah, it's a big one. Yeah.
So that's
very big
pretty
bridge.
significant.
Yeah.
That's precise.
To the inch, right?
Yeah. Give or take a few inches. Yeah.
Do the planning efforts have anything to do with being strategic about the landing areas where people get off of the bridge in each area? The West Reading side, it's sort of remote and needs to connect up to the city up to West Reading, and the Reading side connects to Rack, but is a little bit distance from the downtown area. So are there plans being thought about for the landing areas?
Well, for us, we are definitely, well, it depends on what you mean by landing areres. If you mean
Yes.
like the entire city, I can't really speak to that, but we are, when we're talking about the ideas of the landing areas of the bridge itself, that is definitely part of this, is like, what do people want to see, not just on the bridge or looking at the bridge, but approaching it and being around it. So we were hearing suggestions where they would love to see some space for like community performances. And that was without our influence. People were saying that.
You didn't affect that, huh, Anthony?
No, we didn't lean into it. People were thinking about this with like, oh, I would love, I use this to go to and from my job on my electric bike. I would love to see lighting because I leave late, and also the areas around it, I think, could be spruced up into a community garden. That's one thing that I heard myself. And then there are variants of that.
May I add to the conversation?
Sure.
First, as an introduction, I'm Don Edwards. I'm the new city engineer for Reading, and I have to tell you that I'm just blown away with these plans in a really good way. As far as how it ties in with certain projects in the city. The Reading Area Community College, they had plans to last year that were not successful, but I hear they're coming back in, and I think that this will dovetail nicely into what they're planning to do. Another thing is, I mean, I saw the former Dana site on one of the slides here, and the city has accepted proposals from engineers, and there's planned redevelopment that also will dovetail very nicely with what I saw in this presentation. So, thank you.
Thank you, Don. How will the ability to secure funding affect the plans that you come up with?
Well, obviously you can't build it if we don't get the funding, but I will say one thing about Schuylkill River Greenways as an organization. We are tenacious and we will find this funding. And you know, this one is a little tricky because doesn't fit in any one box. It's not really building new trail. It's economic development. It is trail, but it's improvement, not new trail. It's an artwork. So there's a funding stream for artwork, and you know, not that the NEA, the National Endowment for Arts, is getting a lot of funding right now, but that will come back. So in my opinion, this is going to be a mishmash of funding. You know, we right now have applied for the congressionally directed spending because that would be a home run. That's the type, that funding is just perfect for a project like this, which is hard to, there's not an easy answer for how it's going to be funded, but it's obviously will have great economic impact and a great impact on the city. So that's why we have, you know, are applying to that, because we could in one fell swoop really get this project going with that money. But if we don't get that money, we'll be scratching and clawing at every single, we'll try DCNR money, we'll try DCED money, we'll go for NEA money, we'll go for TASA money. We will find the money for this. And we have quite a good track record for finding the money for good projects.
Good.
If it helps to partner with the city, please consider that as well.
We absolutely will, and we will, and the county as well. I didn't mention this, but actually the county owns this bridge.
Right.
And we have the trail easement on it. And the county has been a great partner in phase one. They funded the public engagement and initial planning. And I think the county also sees the real potential value of really uplifting not just this little stretch of bridge here, but this whole surrounding area as people enter the city.
Yeah, I think it's a shame that the city moved away from its downtown improvement district, but the city has made some changes, thank you, Don, in terms of how it's focusing on this whole sort of thing. Elaine, can you talk a little bit about what types of businesses and the locations of the businesses you're looking for the trail-friendly business guide?
Oh, absolutely. First, I want to just say as a background, we're not making it up about the economic impact of these trails. I'm just trying to get to that slide. The Great Allegheny Passage does that is a 150-mile trail that's out in the Pittsburgh area. And they have their trail done, granted. We only have 80 miles of our 120. But they do a great economic impact study every year. Their trail brings in $121 million a year in economic activity. And that is overnight stays, restaurants, bike shops, all of the ancillary activity that goes around a trail. And the big numbers really start to come when people travel to the trail and then they stay overnight, go out to dinner, go out to breakfast, buy a new bike outfit, that type of activity. So the the trail-friendly business program that we have, and we're not original here, every major trail has a program like this to connect with the businesses, support them, and drive traffic to their businesses. And those businesses can run the gamut. They can run like direct services to people that use the trail, bike shops, running gear, that type of direct service business. Next level out is sort of the support of the user: ice cream, beer, restaurant, water, tourist attractions. Those all pop up around trails. And then like the next level out is the tourist traveler business, which can run from camping sites that, rudimentary camping by the river, all the way up to beautiful B&Bs that pop up around these trails. And those are the businesses that, time after time, you see the example in long distance trails. The key is really making it a long distance trail that people will come distances to visit. And I will note that the Schuylkill River Trail has been recognized as the best urban trail in America twice by USA Today, who does the study. Now that's at the part that's more developed down in the city and Montgomery County area. But as this trail gets longer, people will come, and we are on the map already, but people will come to do several days on the trail. And we get calls from people all over the world who are planning their bike trip to come here. And they want the map ahead of time. They want where to stay ahead of time. It is a real economic boon to have a long distance trail coming through your city or town.
Have you had any contact with the West Reading Chamber of Commerce or the Greater Reading Chamber of Commerce that represents a lot of small businesses?
Sure, we are partners with them. They are actually serving a presence on our stakeholder committee for this project. We have not done our full court press to them for our trail friendly business program yet, as we were really waiting for the trail to open up and the traffic to start coming and to have this tool developed. But that is on our to-do list for this spring and summer, to partner with them, reach out to the businesses who are either on the trail or easy to get to from the trail, and have them all sign up so that we can feature them on the map.
And there are also some possibilities connected with the chamber with some funding sources. The Greater Reading Economic Development Corporation has connections with the chamber and has done some projects. They're involved in some of the ones that Don had mentioned. The Redevelopment Authority of Berks County, it's also a possibility. They were very actively involved in the Dana side as well. So I think there's some potential funding sources there. Has RAC contributed anything in terms of funding for your projects as opposed to their projects?
RAC's participation has been excellent in terms of partnership and support, supporting our applications, supporting the work while we're planning. They are full on board as partners. They have not been a funding partner at this point, but they are excellent partners in the work that we're doing.
Okay. You had mentioned the congressional funding. When is that going to be known to you about whether you got it or not?
Okay, so anybody who knows and who has been through the congressional funding process on this call will be able to commiserate with that process.
Yes.
It is very obtuse, and there aren't really any, you can't count on a day that you're going to hear that you get it. And once you get it, you can't count on a day that you know you're going to actually receive the money. It's a long, uncertain process. But we know that if we do proceed in the process and we do get one of these grants, it'll be years before we actually see the dollars. It's a long process. It has to go through appropriations, get passed in the budget, and then get awarded. It's not for the weak of heart.
I got to do a quick commercial here because Jose put something in the chat function about asking people to take a survey about this community forum. And so we hope you'll take the opportunity to do that and tell us what you thought of it, how felt it was organized and designed, and whether they should get rid of me as the coordinator. Um, do you have any idea of the number of people, Anthony, who participated in the planning process so far? Is it?
Yeah, we've had a lot of returns, but in total we had 75 participants so far. I believe it's around 75.
Oh, that's
I can
good.
actually get the hard numbers for you if you guys want it, but yeah, around there. Uh-huh.
And part of what the Schuylkill River Greenways mission is to try to improve the water quality in the area. Uh, how is any of these projects going to affect that? And are there partners here? I noticed you had the Philadelphia Waterworks as a partner. Maybe the Reading Waterworks could be a partner in this.
Well, I can just say that one aspect of this, which may be very close to what you're talking about, but not exactly it, is I will refer to a beach that shall not be named. And for us, it is extremely important. It is extremely important for people to have ownership of their city, to utilize their city, and to take care of their city. There is not only rights, there is responsibilities, there are privileges. And there are duties, there are things that we have to do if we love this place, if we want it to be a beautiful place for our children and for our elders and for ourselves. And Barrio is extremely focused on environmental wellness. We actually have a fellow here who is working with the Environmental Advisory Council of Reading, and they have been absolutely fabulous in going to the Riverfront Park to speak with people who use that park to let them know what threats they may face, meaning, like to not park there because you will get towed, and how to use, you are allowed to use amplified sound in public spaces, but of course to a reasonable degree, and to use that space to where it is welcoming. And it already is. I mean, there are thousands of people who go to the riverfront every year. And if we can make sure that they feel that it is theirs and that they should care for it and that they want it to be beautiful and clean for the next folks, then that is a victory. That is a huge victory. And it's an uphill battle. It's going to be an uphill battle because you have visitors from all over the place stopping by. And maybe they don't know the culture that we've set here, but we always welcome people to learn and to empower themselves. It is not punitive action, but empowerment. So for people to know that they are caring for themselves in the future.
There are a couple projects that could have some significant impact on this. One of this is the restoration of passenger rail service between Philly and Reading. That could have a significant impact. But the other one could have an unanticipated impact on this, and that is PennDOT's strategic planning on the 422 bypass, where they're talking about making significant changes at the intersection on Penn Street and the Bingham and Bridge section. And that could really seriously undermine the ability of people to want to walk across those bridges. So this project could have consequences for addressing that issue. Have you thought about that? Has that been impacted your decision making, your thinking?
Well, as you can imagine, we've kept a very keen eye on the plans as they've been forward, and it will change the trail. The plans do involve a realignment of the trail entering the city. It will not change the bridge. The bridge is staying, and the bridge will continue to be the entryway into the city. I don't know, Kent or Jacob, do you want to talk at all about?
Yeah, it's hard to know when, the timing of that project's gonna,
Yeah,
officially
it keeps
start.
changing.
And yeah. Um, you know, and their sequence too. By the time they get to construction on this part of 422, it could be 10 years from now.
Yeah.
But yeah, we definitely are keeping that in mind. Like we know when they do get to this construction of this part of 422, really it's a bridge replacement for them. It's a bridge over top of our trail, so it's just another bridge replacement project for the 422 bypass. We do know that it's going to impact on how our trail is open or closed during that construction. But we got to keep that in mind as we design the changes to the Gateway Bridge, that we're not unintentionally constructing something that could get removed by the 422 bypass. So we have to be careful in that particular spot of the Gateway Bridge. But, like I said, it's 625 feet long. The other 595 feet that it won't be impacted there. There's not too much worry there.
Good. Thank you. I know Anthony mentioned that the next public engagement is going to be secret, so we can't tell anybody when and how it's going to occur. But how will you be informing the public about going forward from that to other events and activities and planning this project?
Yes, we have absolutely no fear or hesitation to be loud and proud about the things we're doing, almost to the point of being annoying, but we're too cute to be annoying. No. Yes, so we are talking with Nemesis Running. I'm sure you guys are very aware of the phenomenon known as Nemesis Running, which fills Reading with athletes many times a year. So we are going to be going out and speaking with them for this sort of unannounced true pedestrian surveying that's coming up in the next couple of weeks. But as the project goes on, Barrio will be communicating that through our newsletters and through our social media. And I'm sure SRG will be doing the same.
Okay.
Yeah, especially when we get to the point where there are ideas on paper.
Yeah.
That's going to be very important for us to get that out as far and as wide as we can to get feedback. Because ultimately we have to make a decision and pick one. And obviously it's in everyone's best interest if the one that we pick is the most, people are most excited about.
Good. We had a question about whether or not the the public engagement efforts are going to be done in both English and Spanish. We don't do the forms in Spanish, although Jose is trying to nudge me a little bit, and we're going to try to see how we can address that. But are you going to be people who are not English speaking going to be able to engage in this process?
Without a
Anthony, I'm
doubt.
gonna let you take that.
Without a doubt. Our name is Barrio Alegría. So
Exactly.
hopefully, yeah, we have bilingual staff here, bilingual being English and Spanish. If there's any other languages that we come across, I use Google Translate quicker than anybody. But we definitely are aiming to engage the populace that live and near the bridge and who use the bridge.
So we're getting close to the end of this. I want to make sure Jose gets a chance to say something here at the end, but Elaine, do you have anything else you want to add?
No, I'm really grateful for this opportunity. I mean, I think somebody used the word game changer in the beginning of this. And I do think this could be a game changer, and sort of the straw on the camel's back that gets all of the forces that are revitalizing Reading, like the tipping point. There's always a tipping point.
Yep.
And this, I believe, is going to be the tipping point.
Good.
Bye,
We'll see
everyone.
everybody.
Thank
Thank you for joining us.